Notion has been a very big productivity software, and a lot of companies have been trying to compare to it. But can this app replace Notion or compete? I'm going to be talking to you and introducing you to xtiles, and I'm going to be doing a close comparison to both of them and talk about the differences and pros and cons. So make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss another one of my videos, and let's get into talking about xtiles and Notion and the similarities and differences. Before we get into the video, I did want to mention I started a email list and newsletter, and I will link it down below. It is through Substack. It is completely free, and my newsletter is called Angel Messages, and I will be trying to do it monthly, maybe more. So subscribe if you want to. So let's start off with xtiles. xtiles is a productivity software, really similar to Notion. Here is a little bit of an overview. This is my main dashboard. It literally just has aesthetics. It has one of my favorite playlists. I'm showing you a little bit of the things that you can add to it and how you can add them. It has like a little sidebar. You can add and readjust whatever you add to kind of the size that you want it to. So on the side, it has images, lists, tasks, widgets. You can embed stuff, and you can have a table. Here is another one of my tabs that I have. This one's my school tab. I use this one a lot. Honestly, I have been using xtiles actually for about a year. I used Notion before then, so for multiple years. So I feel like I can compare both of them because I've used them for a good amount of time. I think that xtiles is honestly really comparable to Notion. So this school tab overall, I have multiple different things. I have one where I was applying for scholarships, and I wanted to make sure I had everything on track. One where my professor did not want to put my grades in Canvas, so I had to calculate my grades on my own. I ended up getting an A in that class, thank God, but I had to calculate on my own. It was that was a horrible thing. But here's another one of my tabs. I have a content planner. This is literally just a calendar, and it is an endless calendar. And you can actually have multiple different views of this calendar, different ones. You can also access it on your Google Calendar if you want to. Like, you can link them. You can do the same on Notion, which I think is really cool that both of them have that. I also have a book tab, which is where I process all my books. Do I really use it? No. I started using it and then I just forgot about it. So this year I definitely need to do that. I also have my Studying Angel tab, and then a 2024 tab. 2024 is literally just images of excerpts or inspiration of what I want my 2024 to look like overall. But those are pretty much all of my tabs. Right now I'm showing you how easy it is to just readjust the sizes of things. I think it is so crazy how beginner friendly xtiles is. If you are looking for a database that you can really learn how to use really quickly, xtiles is going to be your best friend. It is so easy to add, rearrange, kind of customize it the way you want, and understand what you're doing really quickly. I think that is one of the main benefits of xtiles overall. It is so easy to just make this and customize it as much as you want. Like I'm showing you here, you can change the color, you can add widgets. I love that it already has pre-made widgets, which I think is, again, very beginner friendly, because if you're adding widgets to Notion, I think they have a couple, but a lot of the time you have to make your own and add it to your dashboard. So I like that this widget over here is literally, they have pre-made ones, and I think that's so convenient for people who don't want to go out of their way to make their own. I'm also showing you how many different things you can honestly do that I had not figured out. I also want to say xtiles is fairly newer, and I feel like I'm always getting emails that they're updating stuff. So I think that's honestly a good thing. They keep adding stuff, they keep improving, they keep wanting to just add more stuff and make it more convenient for their users. I think that is amazing. And a lot of the stuff that they have been adding, Notion already has. So a lot of these, try this, the task thing, Notion already had that. The nestled notes, Notion already had that. So Notion is a little bit more advanced, but I think that xtiles is just a lot more beginner friendly because it's so easy to just figure out what you're doing really quick. On Here I'm also showing you different templates that they have. You can purchase some of them, and you can also just use some of them like on your own free will, like for free completely. As I mentioned, my school tab is probably one of my favorite ones because I just use it the most. I like the layout, I like how everything looks, and I just feel like it kind of just is really useful, and I actually use it in my day-to-day life. So this chart, again, very easy to customize, very easy to understand. You have a bunch of different statuses you can make, different classes, different stuff. I will say, I have not figured out how to make the table so that it automatically puts it in date order. In Notion, it is so easy to do that. I will show you later. But in xtiles, I have not figured out how to change it so that your due date goes in like chronological order. This is only in chronological order because I put it in it. Like I literally put it in chronological order myself by hand. So if you don't want to do it manually, Notion has that. But again, I think xtiles is just really, really beginner friendly. Like all these different like plus things, it really helps you explain how to maneuver it. Like it's easy to understand. I also think like when you're trying a new database or new productivity software and you're starting from scratch, it is super like confusing and kind of like scary because you're like, oh my gosh, and overwhelming. You have just so much stuff that you need to learn. I will say one of the major cons of xtiles is, you know how you have like different pages, different tabs? You can only have 5 tabs, like, or concepts. So let's say I want to have one for school, I have one for school, but if I wanted to have my wish list as a whole separate tab, I wouldn't be able to because you need premium. A lot of things in xtiles are kind of locked. Like I feel like it's very noticeable versus Notion. But overall, I like that it's very colorful. I would say that it's very beginner friendly, and compared to Notion, like it's easy to understand. You can start from scratch and not be intimidated. And I just like that whole thing. My biggest pet peeve about it though is that I can't have more than 5 tabs. Like I would have to make a whole new dashboard, whole new workspace to have more than 5 pages, whereas Notion, that is not an issue. But honestly, I really, really love xtiles and I've been using it for a year. So moving on to Notion. So Notion, as I mentioned, has literally everything that xtiles does. It's just a little bit more advanced. I will say when I started using Notion a couple of years ago, it was really hard to understand. But one of the new updates that it has is that you can link your calendar on Notion to your Google Calendar and vice versa. Again, there's a lot of different options that you can do to customize this. I would say that xtiles is more like colorful, and like Notion is more pastels or just more aesthetic overall. I would say if you're looking for a productivity app, overall, both of them have physical apps you can put on your phone, not just desktop. I prefer them on desktop. I think it's easier to use. I also think the Notion app is easier to use than the xtiles one. But again, I think xtiles just has a lot of improving to do because they are so new compared to Notion is a kind of like a veteran for productivity apps, and they're just more seasoned in that. I'm over here showing you kind of my overall setup. You can see that I have a bunch of different pages for my Studying Angel tab, which is kind of like content creation and random ideas that I have. I like that my monetization and like my analytics and subscribers are kind of in a gallery style thing. I like that you can embed multiple different aspects in one thing for Notion. I don't think you can do that in xtiles, and maybe I just haven't figured out how to do it, but I would say that's one of those major differences. Like I can have like a toggle, like a drop down menu for just like tasks and things like that on Notion, and then embed a page. And I feel like, I don't know, I mean, you can definitely do it. I just think it's easier on Notion. Here is my like little schoolwork tab. Here's what I'm showing you, that my due dates automatically change because I set it so that they are in chronological order of due date. So like the thing that's due first will be on the top of my list. I did that it has like these two little arrows. One's on the top, one goes downwards. And here again in the books, it's showing you that I put it ascending or descending. I have not been able to find that in xtiles, and maybe that's just me that not being able to find it. I don't know. But here's my languages tab. This is also very simple. It literally is just like a table, just like any other thing. I really do love tables and like having like the process of what I'm doing, like due dates and things like that. I think it's just helpful to have tables of things. I feel like looking between xtiles and Notion, both of them are very, very similar. Like they're both databases. They both have calendars that link up to your Google. They both are colorful, one a little bit more colorful than the other. One is just a little bit more advanced. Like Notion has more to offer, but also it's a little bit more confusing when you're trying to figure out what you're doing. I remember when I first started using it, it took me forever to make my dashboard, and I'm still editing it to this day, which is normal. You should edit your dashboard and make it more you as you change and as you grow. But I feel like xtiles, I literally just sat down one day and I did it. Whereas Notion, it literally gave me a headache because I was so confused and I didn't know what to do. So I feel like if Notion was to, I don't know, make it more obvious of like what things do and how to do them, it would be, I mean, there's a lot of people who use Notion and a lot of tutorials. There are also a lot of templates that you can find from those tutorials from Notion and xtiles itself. The biggest thing that I will say about xtiles is the premium version is so prominent. It's so visible. I literally did not know that Notion had like a premium version until I started using AI for a little bit. And then when it used AI, they're like, oh, you're out of times to use it because you have to pay for premium. The whole time I'd used Notion, I didn't even know there was a premium until someone literally was sponsored by Notion, which I am not, and said that there's a premium version. So keep that in mind. But if I'm comparing both of these, I would say if you are trying to find a productivity app or productivity software to dip your toes in, start with xtiles. xtiles is so much easier to like understand, and I feel like Notion is just advanced. Like a lot of like, I think it is overwhelming for a lot of people. That is the overall consensus that I have found with multiple people that use it, from you guys in the comments talking to me about it as well. I think Notion is amazing and I love it so much, but I also think xtiles is just easier to understand as a beginner when you are trying just to set your life up and trying to plan everything. And xtiles pretty much has everything that you need, everything that Notion has. Notion just has a little bit more. And again, I keep getting emails from xtiles saying, we updated this, we updated that. So they're working on it. They are constantly growing. They're constantly improving it. So if you just want to start off by planning something, then go ahead, use xtiles. But if you are a seasoned planner, productivity software person, I think Notion is honestly the best way to go. And now that it's the new year, honestly, I think you need to figure out like what is the best thing for you and what is going to be easier for you. Again, one of the major things I don't like about xtiles is, again, you can only have 5 tabs, and then you would have to make a new workspace after those 5 tabs are up. And then with Notion, you don't have to really worry about that. You kind of just have, you can make as many tabs as you want, as many pages as you want, embed anything that you want without having to pay premium. So I think that's the major difference, is like premium is very prominent in xtiles and it's not as much as Notion, but you can also make money off of xtiles if you sell templates. So both things that you can keep in mind when you're going into this new year, which productivity app sounds like it's for me. But wait, which one am I going to be using in this new year? Because they're both really good ones. Drumroll, please. I'm going to be using Notion. I just think Notion is where it's at for my life right now. I want something a little bit more advanced. I'm using it every single day. I'm using it for multiple things. And the thing about the tabs where you can only have 5 kind of bothered me a little bit. I didn't know that until later in the year. So I just think I'm drawn to Notion for this year. But I love both xtiles and Notions. I've used them both and I think they're amazing. Please let me know which one you are going to use in this year. Are you going to be using xtiles or are you going to be using Notion? Let me know in the comments. But thank you so much for listening. I hope this video helped you in some way, shape, or form. Please subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss another one of my videos. And of course, stay tuned until next Sunday's video because I promise you guys it will be an amazing one. Bye guys, and Happy New Year.